Now, the opposite of flexion intolerance is obviously extension intolerance, which means that your back doesn't like bending backwards. But it's not just backward bending, because if you think about it, when you're just standing upright, your back's kind of extended already, which means extension intolerant people don't like standing up for long periods, for example, or walking slowly around the shops. Now, the easiest thing to say would be, well, just don't do that and take the opportunities to sit down whenever you can, which of course makes sense. But it might not be that easy if your job involves standing up for long periods, for example. Now, a very simple thing you can do is invest in some well-cushioned shoes. Now, this isn't going to solve the problem in your back, but it will help to alleviate some of the discomfort of standing for long periods. So if you have to do that for work, then get some shoes with some really good cushioning on. It'll just take the edge off and make it a bit more comfortable, whilst you're also doing other things to help your back. Now, with extension intolerance, often this comes down to posture. And by that, I mean, if you stand in an extended position, for example, you're trying to have good posture by lifting the chest up, which some people do, what that can do is just put more tension on the back and arch the back backwards more, putting more strain on it. And perhaps that's not what your back wants. And I have to say, losing weight makes a big difference here, because if you're carrying a bit of weight at the front, then it makes sense that your back has to arch back a little bit more, putting that extra strain on the joints in the back. Again, I know it's easier said than done to lose weight, but if you find that your back is extension intolerant and you think you might have a few pounds to lose, then that could be a really crucial piece of the puzzle for you. There's also a couple of exercises that you might want to try, and one of them is called the child's pose, which I'll demonstrate in a second. But there's also a simple stretch that you can just do day to day when you're standing around. All you have to do is squat down onto your heels whilst holding on to something in front of you. Allow your tailbone to tuck under a little bit and just stretch the arms out. So you're stretching the back into more of a curved and arched position. Now, if you're extension intolerant, you'll probably find this is a really comfortable position. It gives you a lot of relief. And it's something that you can do fairly easily if you need to when you're standing around, just leaning against the lamppost or something like that, rather than doing some kind of yoga technique in the middle of the street. I want to demonstrate for you a lovely stretch called the child's pose. Now, this is a yoga position that's really good for opening up the joints in the spine and stretching the muscles, but in a safe way. So what you do is you get down into a kneeling position. Now, if your knees are a bit creaky, maybe you've got arthritic knees or they're just a bit stiff, then what you can do is get a cushion and just try different sizes, whatever's comfortable. Put it behind your legs like that, and it just supports your knees a bit more. And then all we're going to do is just reach forward, stretch forward, put your hands on the ground and just slide your hands forward like this. What you're doing is trying to rest your head on your forehead on the floor. You've got your big toes touching, but your knees can be apart a little bit. And you may find this helps if you're not so flexible, then makes it a bit easier if you just open the knees a little bit more. So again, I'm just going to stretch forward, and I want to show you a couple of variations on this as well. If you can't get all the way down, first of all, just come onto the forearms like this. If you find that comfortable enough, really stretch the arms out. And take some deep breaths when you're down there. It's supposed to be a nice, relaxing, de-stressing position as well. So take some deep breaths. Hold it for 30 seconds to a minute or however long's comfortable. And if you want a bit more of a stretch, what you can do is cross one arm over the other like this. And that's the child's pose.